All right, so moving on to the final segment, I'll be sharing my WWE Crown Jewel PLE summary. So I'll be going over all the matches, all the tournament events that happened last night in the world of wrestling at Crown Jewel. Starting off with match number 1. You had the Bloodline 2.0 of Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga defeat Roman Reigns, Jimmy, and Jay the Usos. Now, I think the Bloodline, the 2.0 Bloodline winning this match, I think that was the right call. The match was decent at best. I think all 6 of these guys tried their best, but I felt like they were holding back just a bit. Not to mention that botched pin that Solo Sikoa had on Roman Reigns, where the referee paused his 3 count because Jimmy Uso was late on breaking up the 3 count. But as I digress, they tried their best. I just think they were holding back a little bit. But I do like the fact that WWE let Solo Sikoa pin Roman Reigns. I think that's a big, big deal. And that's going to be over Roman Reigns in his head thinking, can I defeat my cousin Solo Sikoa, who is the new tribal chief in this Bloodline storyline? But I think nobody in wrestling does storytelling better than this family, the Samoan dynasty of the Bloodline. Nobody's doing it better. They've been doing it for 4 years, giving us tremendous stories. And we have another one presented in front of us. Because now we're seeing little by little, piece by piece, the old OG Bloodline forming back together. Start off with Roman. Now Jimmy Uso joined his side. Now Jay Uso's back in the mix. Now Sami Zayn, the honorary Us, is back in the fold. And we're going to have some stories to tell with Jimmy Uso not trusting Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn accidentally making accidental contact on Roman Reigns, trying to take out Solo Sikoa. So you got all 4 guys trying to get back on the same page and take out the new Bloodline. It's going to be an interesting story on the road to Survivor Series, which is going to obviously set up for a 4-on-4 War Games match between the OG Bloodline versus the Bloodline 2.0. This is going to be some great stuff for Survivor Series, and I can't wait to watch how it unfolds this week on Friday Night SmackDown. But moving on to the next match, you had the women's tag team titles on the line. You had Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. They successfully retained the women's tag team titles against Chelsea Green, the team of Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Damage Control, the Team Metaphor, in a fatal 4-way tag team match. Now, this was a good match. All 4 of these teams did their best to make the match feel important. I got some side notes for that. Bianca Belair and Io Sky are obviously some dream wrestling soulmates. Every time they mix it up in the ring, they always create magic together. Whether they only have a few moments in the ring together in tag matches, where they compete against each other in singles matches, these two always have great in-ring chemistry. So I would like to see that match at a possible WrestleMania one day for a women's title, or just a one-on-one encounter, because that's how special these 2 women can be. Can you imagine them on the grandest stage of them all? But also during this tag team match, it made me want to see a future feud between Jade Cargill and Lash Legend one day. Lash Legend has really done a great job over in the women's division in NXT, and I think she could be a big star on the women's main roster on Raw or SmackDown one day. But I do believe that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill winning or retaining was the right call here. WWE should start to consider think about how they're going to turn one of them heel, because the road to WrestleMania, after Survivor Series and after the Saturday night PLE that we'll get in December, we're basically on the road to WrestleMania at that point. So they got to get creative and start to plant the seeds little by little, piece by piece, and they got to make a decision. If it were up to me, I would have Bianca Belair turn heel and turn on Jade Cargill, with Jade Cargill basically being the prospect, being alongside Bianca Belair with her mentor turning on her. That's the direction I would go in. But WWE is going to have to be very creative of how they're going to split them up and how they're going to drop the tag team titles next. So the next match, you had Seth Rollins defeat Bronson Reed. Now, honestly, I would have gave the win to Bronson Reed here. Bronson Reed obviously needed the win here. But the way how they planted the seeds after this match, the feud is obviously going to continue. But I feel like Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed, this is going to be a fun story to follow. But the match was pretty good. I liked the brawl that happened before the match started. I liked how the bell rang. Bronson Reed had a tsunami on Seth Rollins, nearly got the win. I like how Seth Rollins returned the favor, hit a stomp on Bronson Reed. But here's why I'm not so mad Bronson Reed lost the match. It's the way how they did it. They made Bronson Reed look very strong because it took a total of 4 curve stomps for Seth Rollins to put away Bronson Reed. 2 regular curve stomps, 1 on the steel steps, and then 1 a super stomp off the top rope to defeat Bronson Reed. And then Bronson Reed, bleeding and all, stood tall, and Seth Rollins was in shock after the match, saying, what the fuck is wrong with you? Basically. So Bronson Reed is not going to stop until he gets his hand on Seth Rollins again. The feud will continue, but in losing effort, they did do a good job to make Bronson Reed look strong. So I'm not too mad with that decision, but I would have gave the victory to Bronson Reed. Now, next match you had Liv Morgan defeat Nia Jax in a women's versus champion match to become the first ever women's Crown Jewel champion. Now, honestly, this match was good for what it was. I kind of felt like this could have been a match that you could have seen on Raw or SmackDown. But I think it was pretty good for what the time that they had. I think the in-ring chemistry of Liv Morgan and Nia Jax is pretty good in the ring together. Obviously, Tiffany Stratton teasing the Money in the Bank cash-in. She's doing this on all of Nia Jax's big matches at this point. When are we going to see the cash-in? Because the story is already there. We've seen Tiffany Stratton basically tease it several times. I just want to see the cash-in at this point. But when they do it, I know it's going to be special, and I know that Tiffany Stratton is going to be a damn good women's champion. So I'll continue to be patient on it. But Liv Morgan winning the match makes sense. This makes her look strong as a women's champion. Nia Jax already won the Women's Queen of the Ring tournament this year. She already won the women's title. So why not give the extra accomplishment to Liv Morgan, who's been busting her ass in the women's division on Monday Night Raw and doing her best with the story that's been provided to her with her and Dominic Mysterio and the Rhea Ripley storyline. So I'm not mad at it. I'm glad that Liv Morgan, you can tell how happy she was. She was about to cry in tears when Triple H congratulated her and she got her big moment on this PLE. Now, let's talk about how Randy Orton and Kevin Owens basically ended in a no contest. This was a match that was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. And it's funny that Triple H couldn't even have more than 6 matches on a PLE. But as I digress, Kevin Owens attacking Randy Orton with the steel chair to the thigh. That made a lot of sense before the match started. And it then just turned into a full-out brawl. Both men were crashing out. Officials were trying to break it up. I was very entertained, and I thought that was a better idea than actually giving us a match between them this early in the feud. But Kevin Owens had a stunner on a referee. Randy Orton had an RKO on the Raw general manager and Adam Pearce. This led to Kevin Owens and Randy Orton brawling in the crowd, with Kevin Owens hitting a swanton bomb on Randy Orton through a table on the outside in the crowd area out there in Saudi Arabia. So I think this is going to be a fun feud to continue. It looks like a match between KO and Randy Orton will happen possibly at Survivor Series. We'll see how this feud continues, but I'm already liking the story of it because Kevin Owens is out of his mind and Randy Orton is out of his mind for vengeance. So we got a good story brewing right there on Friday Night SmackDown. Now, the next match you had LA Knight successfully retain his United States Championship against Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. Now, this was a really good triple threat championship match. All 3 of these guys did their damn thing to make the match feel important. And it was the second best wrestling match of the night. And I would love to see a rematch. I hope. I wouldn't be mad at it. But I would love to see a rematch one day with these 3 guys fighting for the United States Championship again, because that's how good the triple threat match was at Crown Jewel. Now, the in-ring chemistry is there. The thing that stood out to me was that BFT finish that LA Knight planted on Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. I don't know how they coordinated that, but that finish was good as gold. And that gave LA Knight the win, and I'm enjoying LA Knight's title reign as the United States Champion. He's bringing prestige and honor back to that title with already 6 title defenses to that title. Logan Paul held the title for nearly a year, only had 3 title defenses, making the United States title look very lackluster. But LA Knight is doing a great job as the United States Champion. I'm proud of him. He's doing his damn thing over there on the blue brand. But in the main event, we've seen Cody Rhodes versus Gunther, the WWE Champion versus the World Heavyweight Champion. Champion versus champion match with Cody Rhodes becoming the first ever men's Crown Jewel champion. Now, this was an instant classic. The best match on the entire Crown Jewel card goes to the match that Gunther and Cody Rhodes had. Both of these guys stole the show, in my opinion. It was a classic pro wrestling match. Slow pace, nothing too fast, nothing too slow, just in the middle. That's what I like, and that's what these two guys gave us, the WWE Universe, last night at Crown Jewel. Now, Cody Rhodes and Gunther have some great in-ring chemistry together. The storytelling was on full display as the match went on. These guys were beating the hell out of each other, pillar to post, to prove who is the best champion, the best world champion that the WWE has to offer. But Cody Rhodes winning against Gunther, I mean, can you really have a winner or a loser here? I think that you couldn't have gone wrong with the decision either way. But Cody defeating Gunther, that was a really good call. And I like the finish. It was an actual callback to how Bret Hart defeated Roddy Piper years ago at WrestleMania, when Roddy Piper had Bret Hart in a sleeper hold choke with Bret Hart rolling over and pinning Roddy Piper's shoulders to the mat down for a 3 count. That's what Cody Rhodes did. Rolled over out of the sleeper hold and pinned Gunther's shoulders to the mat down for a 3 count. That was a good callback to that WrestleMania match. But I like that Cody Rhodes won the match. I like the respect that Gunther and Cody Rhodes had after the match. Even though Gunther is a heel, he did show his respect to the WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. And both of them are having pretty good world title reigns. And I hope both of them continue their dominance as world champions and continue to be the future of WWE, because both of these guys deserve it. Both of these guys put the work in. Both of these guys bust their ass to be the best of the best on Raw and SmackDown. And in the world of wrestling today, both are top 10 wrestlers in any wrestling promotion. So Cody and Gunther, I got to see more matches like this in the future, and we will. But Cody winning here, I have no problem with it. And I would have had no problem if Gunther won either. So, final thoughts. Letter grade, I'll give this PLE. I'll give it a B-. I'll give it a B-. That Bloodline 6-man tag team match, I'm glad it didn't main event the night. I'm glad they gave it to Gunther and Cody Rhodes. The Bloodline can't main event everything, guys. But I just felt like that match, they held back. It should have been so much better. The botch pin, I got to pay attention to that, to the detail. I would have had Bronson Reed defeat Seth Rollins. The women's tag team match was pretty good. The champion versus champion match, it was pretty good for the time that they had, but I just felt like that was a good Raw or SmackDown match. The brawl between Randy Orton and Kevin Owens was very good. The triple threat match between LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes was really good. And once again, the Cody Rhodes versus Gunther match was pretty spectacular as well. So I give the PLE a B-. And those are my thoughts on that is my Crown Jewel summary of the PLE. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.